Shalom Aleichem. My name is Gabrielle and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I do Jewish lifestyle and mommy videos. I'm going to do a little bit of a different video right now. I just kind of wanted to jump on here and do a video in response to some updates that another YouTuber, Natalie Bennett, was doing. I just got Kobi down for a nap in our bedroom because it is like 90 degrees here in Illinois, and because he is in my bedroom, which is very, very cool, and I'm in his bedroom, which is a little warmer, that means I actually have a space to do a video, so it actually kind of worked out. The video that I've been working on finishing up was all about camping with the baby, and I'm going to still try and finish that one up today and get that out, but I wanted to do a quick video about my life with celiac disease, as well as what I eat in a day. If you are a fan of Natalie Bennett's channel, or if you go over to her channel and you kind of see what she's about, she's a mommy vlogger who has a daughter who is about a month and a half older than Kobi, and I've been watching her videos since about the time that Kobi was born because it's just really great watching videos when you're a new mother of mothers who are not new mothers, and they have children who are maybe a little bit older than your kid, and you kind of have an idea of like what to expect or what you want to do next with your kid, you know, kind of what's going on. So I really want to give a shout out to her because she's been just a huge comfort in my journey to, you know, becoming a new mother. So briefly about my history with celiac disease, I probably have had celiac disease for 11 years and I've been gluten-free for 10 years. It was 2008 that I finally got the stomach aches associated with celiac disease that kind of clued me in that that's probably what it was that had been causing me discomfort. Prior to that, my issues were a skin irritation. I had dermatitis herpetiformis, and I did not know what was causing it. We tried switching my shampoo and my conditioner and my soap and ointments and just all sorts of, I went to the doctor several times. I was told that I might have like a fungal infection a couple times, you know, it was just a whole mess. And I just basically like kind of gave up dealing with it and just thought it was just something that was going to be a chronic issue and there was nothing I could do about it. And it wasn't until I had been suffering with the skin irritation for a year that I finally started getting these like kind of bloating and gas pains and cramping. And I had been not fully dairy free, but I couldn't have milk or soft serve ice cream, like things with a lot of lactose in them. So I'd been more or less lactose free. Soft cheeses I couldn't really have, but I could have hard cheeses. I could have like, you know, the old style slow churn ice cream. I could have that and I could have custard because they tend to have very low lactose. I had been pretty much lactose free, or more or less lactose free, since I was 11 or 12. And so suddenly I started getting that same feeling that I get when I had like regular milk or lactose. And at this point, my maternal aunt had celiac disease. Two of my maternal uncle's daughters, or both of his daughters, had been diagnosed with celiac disease. And my mother was never properly diagnosed with celiac disease, but she basically had all the symptoms, and she was like, well, I'm just going to give up gluten. And then my maternal grandfather also had celiac disease. So I already knew, like, as soon as it happened, I was like, well, that's what it was. Now, unfortunately, just in terms of my diagnosis, I went to the doctor and I told them, I think I have celiac disease, and they told me, then don't eat gluten. And that's all it was. They're like, if you feel better when you don't have gluten, then don't eat gluten. And that was kind of that. And then and at the time I didn't have any health insurance, so I didn't want to do a celiac panel because it costs $500 if you don't have any health insurance. And when I went back, and I did have health insurance, I went back to, I think it was just a yearly checkup, you know, and I told them, by the way, you'll notice that I have some bumps on my skin. That's from celiac. I had an accident, et cetera, et cetera. And she goes, do you want to take a celiac panel? And I said, no, because I've been gluten-free for 3 months and this was just a cross-contamination. I don't think I have enough antibodies to warrant a test. And she said, oh, that's not necessarily true. We'll take a test anyhow. And we took a test, and of course it came back negative. And then I went back and told my family, well, mine came back negative. And everyone's like, you were gluten-free for 3 months. It's going to be negative. So I've never had a positive test. I've just had doctors say, basically, if you feel better when you don't eat gluten, don't eat gluten. But I have 4 members of my family who have had positive celiac tests. And it's kind of a case of like Occam's razor. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And I have a lot of other symptoms that are classic celiacs. So every doctor I've talked to has just been like, that's good enough for me. Because I guess there's really just not much they can do. If there was something else that they could do, I think they would want to be more concise, but or more precise. But I think most doctors are just kind of like, you know, if gluten makes you feel sick and gives you symptoms, then don't eat gluten. So that's where we are. So in terms of what do I eat in a normal day? So I don't buy a lot of gluten-free stuff. Today I actually had pancakes. I had gluten-free pancakes because it's just my husband's working late today, so we're not going to have dinner together, so we had breakfast together. So we made gluten-free pancakes. And then yesterday I bought myself a treat, and I got gluten-free donuts, and they have them in the freezer outside in the garage hidden so that nobody knows that I have gluten-free donuts. But on a normal day for breakfast, I'll eat a gluten-free cereal, and I don't get like a special gluten-free cereal. I just have Corn Chex, or I love that Cheerios is now gluten-free. If I'm feeling really cheaty, I'll have some Fruity Pebbles or Cocoa Pebbles because those are my absolute favorite cereal. Corn Chex, I have a love-hate relationship with. I kind of have some, and then I decide that I am sick of it, and I never have it again. And then I decide, oh, it's been a while since I've had Corn Chex. I like Corn Chex. I don't like Rice Chex, but you could have Rice Chex if you want. They make Chex makes some really good, like blueberry and cinnamon. So basically, just like Cheerios, Chex, and Fruity Pebbles. Those are my go-to cereals. If I'm not gonna have cereal, I typically just have eggs. Hard-boiled eggs are my favorite because they're ready to go and you don't have to do anything. But I'll make some scrambled eggs or eggs over easy sometimes. And then sometimes I'll make like scrambles where you do like scrambled eggs with onions and garlic and kale and spinach and tomatoes and stuff like that. Or if I really am feeling fancy and I have the time, I'll do shakshuka because I am Jewish. And that's like a staple to us. So, sometimes, for those of you who don't know what shakshuka is, it's poached eggs in tomato sauce, basically. Add some peppers and whatnot. But so that's my basic breakfast. You know, cup of coffee, maybe a gluten-free granola bar if I'm really in a hurry. For lunch, I've been trying to do vegetarian lunches because I've been trying to cut back to eating meat as infrequently as possible because it's just, kosher meat is so expensive. But lately I've been doing a lot of, like, I'll take frozen vegetables with some chickpeas. I usually try to add a potato or a bean because if you don't add a starch back to your diet, you're going to be starving. The very first thing that I did is I cut out all of my carbs, and then I didn't replace it with any other kind of starchy, non-gluten carbs. And I just ate basically meat and vegetables all the time, which is kind of like a keto style. Actually, yeah, like the very first thing I did is a very keto style diet, and I just felt hungry all the time. And I know people will say it's sugar addiction. I don't care. It was not for me. I didn't like it. I ate too much. It cost too much money was my big thing because meat is not cheap. So you are going to want to replace your starches with a healthy starch. So sweet potato, I love chickpeas. I'm addicted to chickpeas. I eat them like almost every single day. I eat something with chickpeas or hummus, which is just chickpea dip. Corn tortillas is another one. Make a lot of quesadillas because they're super easy. Corn tacos you can do, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of corn tacos. When you have corn tortillas, do not forget to warm them up. So many times I know people, they eat them and they're like, oh, I hate corn tortillas because they're just terrible. You cannot eat them cold or room temperature. They have to be warm. So if you're not aware of that, that was a life lesson I learned for sure. Warm them up. But that's typically what I'll have for like a lunch. It's just kind of like I throw like different things together, vegetables with, dip, or just kind of like anything I can sort of find in my fridge, and I throw it in the pan and I just kind of scramble it up and whatnot. Then for dinner, is actually pretty easy to do gluten-free, because I think a lot of people don't really have a gluten with their dinner. They'll typically do, you know, a meat and a potato and a vegetable. And that's pretty much what I have for dinner as well, except for, you know, we've been trying to cut back on the meat. So basically, yeah, and then rice. I have a couple meals that I've been replacing rice with stuff instead. So it's not too bad if you just kind of stick to that sort of mindset, instead of, you know, replacing, saying, you know, I usually eat a sandwich, so I'm going to have gluten-free sandwiches. You know, I just don't eat sandwiches that much anymore. I eat, like I said, you know, maybe do a quesadilla, but I've found a lot of dishes that are good that you just kind of like look at, you know, vegetables and beans and like potatoes and kind of mix that together and do that. I think probably one of the hardest things is going out to eat. It can be a lot more expensive or a lot more difficult to find stuff. Fast food is just awful, and trying to do fast food is really, really, really difficult too, because like even French fries, most places I cannot eat their French fries because they fry them in the same fryer oil as their, say, chicken nuggets. And it was causing me to erupt into skin irritation. I can cheat every now and then with the cross-contamination, and then I'll only, like, I might get a little skin irritation, like, right in here. And I'm just kind of like, oh, well, it was worth it. I absolutely cannot cheat and have any, like, real bread or anything like that. It will just floor me. It's not worth it. Like, it's not, like, there are things that you know, kind of are in pain and you're like, oh, but it was worth it. It was a croissant. It was a cronut. It was so good. Like, no, it's not worth it ever. Mediterranean dishes are my number one go-to because, you know, I like Arabic style, Israeli style foods anyhow. So that's a really easy way to kind of go to, since most of the dishes are gluten-free, and then you just add, you know, pita bread to it, which I just don't do the pita bread. Or I might do a corn tortilla instead. Mexican food dishes are a really good option too, because most of those dishes are rice and tortilla based, and then you just do corn tortillas and just skip the flour tortillas altogether, which a lot of really and truly true Mexican dishes don't have flour tortillas. They have corn tortillas, as far as I'm aware. I hate to offend anybody if I'm totally wrong on that one. That's what I've always been told. Look who woke up. Oh, should we turn the camera so we can be on the screen? Hello. 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 Oh, my glasses are creating. Oh, there we go. I always worry my glasses create too much glare. Asian food is another one I really, really like. It's basically just like, you know, you kind of have your rice and your noodles. And as long as you do gluten-free noodles, or if you just do the rice, you just want to watch out for soy sauce, because Japanese soy sauce has wheat in it, and Chinese soy sauce does not have wheat in it. So, all right, I hope this video helps. Please, you know, leave a comment in below if you have anything to add or any questions. If you like this video, please click the like button, and if you want to see more videos from me, please click subscribe. I try to update every week, but I can't always do so because I am not super organized and my child is very needy. But if you click the little bell, it will tell you a notification every time I do update. Thank you so much. Shalom Aleichem. You stink. I smell your poopy diaper. What was I saying?